Please welcome Frank Cooper from the WA Football Commission. Thanks for joining me up here, Frank. And I just want to ask you, first of all, I guess we all know that the President's voted against the submission from the Eagles and Dockers. Does that mean the proposal is dead at the moment?
The first thing is the Presidents didn't vote against the proposal. I think that's an important point to bring out. Rather, what happened is, as a result of the dialogue between the Footy Commission and the Presidents, it became pretty clear that the current form of the proposal was not going to be acceptable. And so in order to enable us to move on to a positive phase of the dialogue, we've advised the two AFL clubs that that current form won't be accepted and that we're going to engage with them and with the Waffle clubs to explore the underlying issues and see whether we can progress those to the satisfaction of all.
Where exactly does the Commission stand on the issue of two teams coming into the competition, the WAFL?
Well, the underlying reason for the issue coming up to start with is with the two AFL clubs, they're very strongly of the view that for the development of their players and for their competitiveness in the AFL, they need to have a reserve side. So we accept that as a starting premise. I know some people can choose to debate the merits of it and how important it is, but we accept that as a starting premise. And the two AFL clubs are fundamentally important to the football system in Western Australia. They do help drive a lot of the revenue through the AFL games at Patterson Stadium, which of course the WA Football Commission owns, and that brings us a lot of the revenue, but also through their royalties. So strong AFL clubs are an integral part of success of football in Western Australia, and if we can help them be successful, then we obviously look to do as much as we can to help them achieve that. But what we've said to them in terms of AFL clubs having reserves in the Waffle, that it also needs to meet the criteria of being good for the Waffle competition and good for football in Western Australia as a whole. And it's trying to achieve those three outcomes collectively that we're going to work towards.
Is there possibly another solution? There's been a few ideas bandied about during the week, perhaps playing the team that has the bye. The Eagles, the Dockers playing the team that actually has the bye in the Waffle, not actually being part of the Waffle competition. Could there be another scenario like that could work?
I'm sure there's going to be a number of those type of scenarios that will possibly come up, and I think that's the constructive piece we've tried to achieve, because where we were at was the risk that this had evolved into a yes-no, one versus the other debate, and it was only going to result in winners and losers. And for us, that was not the right answer. So by taking the step that we've taken today, what we hope is that we now enable a constructive dialogue to take place to explore that sort of option, as well as any other options that might come up, variations on the theme, to try and achieve the underlying objectives that the AFL clubs have got while protecting the integrity of the Waffle competition and achieving better outcomes for football overall.
And obviously, you might not be able to answer this, but if the Dockers and Eagles can't fill their sides, any idea where those players could come from?
Well, they've set out one suggestion in their proposal that no doubt you've had a read through and you're fully au fait with. I think there are going to be challenges with that, but there are opportunities and options that are available. I know that there's 2 or 3 variations on that theme that have been put to us already. With something like this that is a pretty fundamental change to football, I have a very strong view, and this is a personal perspective, that the benefit of time to reflect and think through each of those issues is critically important. Because it's not only the where do you get those players from, but it's the knock-on effect of then what impact does that have on football and football development generally. And we need to allow the time to think through those consequences that follow on, not simply the first step of where do they get their players from.
Okay, Frank, what about the future? What's the next time frame as to what they might look at in the next part of the proposal?
First thing is we have said we won't be constrained by a time frame, which means we will take the time we think we need to take to get to a good answer on this. We will not procrastinate or avoid making a decision. The first step from here will be for the Waffle clubs to complete the process that I think they've started, which is to go through and document their views with respect to the current proposal. That'll then form a basis for us to consider that and any variations on a theme that we can identify from there.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank Frank Cooper from the WA Football Commission.